Tejima came here was to wait for someone. But he's been here for 30 years. Oh, guess they didn't show up in the end, huh? Well, let's go give Tejima his stuff back and take it from there.
Well, I'll be. That's certainly my handwriting. And I guess the Omamorian letter belonged to me too. But I have no memory of anything that's written in this diary. Still, it's clear that I was waiting for someone here, and that I chose to wait for 30 years. Over the years, I must have made a note of anything interesting. Anything that I could share with her when we were finally reunited. And just look at all the things that did happen over the years. The time has flown by so quickly. 30 years feels like the blink of an eye. How could I have forgotten something so important to me? Now that I think about it, when my vision was taken from me, it felt like I'd suddenly been hollowed out. Love, regret, everything I felt for her, it's all disappeared. No, not especially. After all, I've forgotten who she was. Her face, her voice, the things we experienced together. I barely recall any of it. It's as if she'd never been in my life to begin with. As if all these years have been nothing but a hazy dream. I think maybe not. If this is something I waited most of my life for, I suppose I should carry on waiting. Although, what if she were to turn up eventually, only to find I didn't remember so much as her name? Wouldn't that be upsetting for her? When I think about it like that, I do feel a slight tinge of sadness in my heart. How curious. Why am I thinking like this when I don't even remember who she is? It's just like that feeling of emptiness, the feeling that something is missing. Thank you both for helping me reconnect with my reason for staying here. I shall remain here and keep waiting for her.
Tejima seems to be dealing okay, but still, it makes Paimon really sad. Seems it's just like Ayaka and Tomo were saying. If you lose your vision, you lose all your hopes and dreams too. That certainly explains the state Tejima was in earlier. At least we were able to help him, weren't we? Well, let's go find the next person. According to Miss Kamisato, the second one who lost their vision is a samurai from the Tenryou Commission. They say the Tenryou Commission is directly controlled by the Shogun. They're the ones responsible for maintaining law and order in Inazuma. the ones actually enforcing the Vision Hunt decree. But why would they take action against one of their own? Paimon doesn't get it. Huh? There seems to be some commotion over there. Let's go see what's happening.
I'll ask one more time. Do you intend to withhold this month's emergency provisions?
The entire clan is counting on that food. We demand an explanation.
How many times do I have to say it? I don't know anything about emergency provisions.
You dare deceive us? Those provisions are essential. Do you understand? Not some goods to be pocketed by greedy samurai.
You samurai think you can just do whatever you please? The Tenryou Commission will hear of this!
Oh, huh? And who are you? One of Kurosawa's gang, no doubt.
What? We just happened to be passing by. We heard the commotion and came to see what the matter was.
I see. You seem to have come just at the right time. Perhaps you can help us settle this matter. This is Kurosawa. He's a samurai and a member of the Shogun's army. They issue emergency provisions to the area, and he's the one responsible for distribution. In the past, we'd simply ask him for provisions and everything would be delivered. Now, he suddenly refuses to give us anything. He's keeping the provisions for himself. I just know it. We'll starve without them.
No one seems to care about us. We used to think Kurosawa was a kind man, but he's shown his true colors. He's the same as all the other samurai. It's no wonder all the visions have been confiscated. The Raiden Shogun doesn't need people like him helping her rule the nation.
This must be one of the people Ayaka asked us to help. But why would she ever want us to help someone like him? Maybe we should talk to Kurosawa and see what he has to say.
I've never even heard of these emergency provisions. I don't know whether it's rumors or whether they're trying to blackmail me. But either way, it's ridiculous. If I was hoarding supplies, would I still be the poor man I am today? My own family can barely get by as it is. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got other matters to attend to. And that's the first bit of truth I've heard all day. The Shogun's army told me that I was unworthy of my vision. And they said I was slacking off in my work. Apparently, I'd even disappointed the Raiden Shogun. And that's why they confiscated my vision.
Well, that's strange. You were helping enforce the Vision Hunt decree. Why would you be unworthy of your vision?
To be perfectly honest, I don't seem to remember the details. All I know is that I would perform certain things every month. But I don't recall what they were. And it's not just that. I have this unsettling feeling, like someone owes me something.
Does it have to do with the missing emergency provisions?
I didn't take any. Like I said, if I was taking them for myself, I wouldn't be going through such hard times right now. To top it all off, my house was just raided by treasure hoarders, which is why I came here in the first place. I was chasing after them when I got held up by these two. If you don't believe me, go find the treasure hoarders yourself. If there were any emergency provisions to be had, they would have found them.
Huh. He seems to be telling the truth. But we better confirm. Let's go round up those treasure hoarders and we should be able to follow.
We really outdid ourselves this time. All those samurai houses packed with goods. We really hit the jackpot. I mean, besides that one house.
You haven't seen anything yet. There'll be a lot more where this came from. Today's just the beginning. You demand!
These seem like the treasure hoarders were...
goes all the Mora. We worked hard to steal that, you know? Come on, boss. Think of something.
Not bad, kid. You ever think of Kurosawa? Oh, so he's the one.
So what did you...
Food supplies. You kidding? That place was a complete mess. All we found was a strange-looking box, hopefully with valuables inside. I didn't want anyone else to see it, so I was planning on opening it myself once we got back. But now that you've caught us, how about we make a deal? That little box for our freedom. What do you say?
You've got a deal. Now
Huh?
What the?
There's nothing in here but IOUs!
Yeah, a lot of them too. And they all seem to be made out to the owner of a general goods store, a Miss Aoi. We're talking tons of Mora here. We better talk to this Miss Aoi and get to the bottom of this. As for you guys, you're free to go. Just pray that our paths don't cross again.
Yes, of course.
So, we redeemed ourselves for...
Shut it.
I think this time it turned out better than
Two explorers make the same mistakes over and over again. Why do new explorers make the same mistakes over and over again?
Come and try some creative cooking.
Mistakes over and over again.
Welcome to Tsukumomono Groceries. We've got everything you need. Can I help you find something? Or perhaps there's something you want to inquire about? Ah, so you're friends of Kurosawa, I take it. Perhaps you're here to pay off his debts.
Whoa! Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're just here to learn where they all came from. How did Kurosawa end up owing you so much money? Did he buy anything super expensive here?
Let me think. Kurosawa would come regularly to purchase large quantities of foodstuffs. He'd always put the payment on his own account. However, the price of provisions began to skyrocket recently, and his salary was no longer enough to cover the cost. So, he started writing out IOUs to cover whatever he couldn't afford of the usual amount.
So that's how he was getting those emergency provisions. But why did he have to purchase a usual amount? If the prices increased, couldn't he just buy less?
Well, if you think about it, the citizens receiving the emergency provisions must have been carefully calculating how much they needed to sustain them each time. Kurosawa thought that it would be quite the disappointment for them if they found they didn't have enough, especially after such long and careful planning. So he deemed it necessary to take on the debt rather than let the people down.
Wow. Kurosawa was purchasing all the emergency provisions at his own expense. And no one ever appreciated what he did. They just complained and held him accountable.
People's attitudes will always reflect their circumstances. In the face of hardship, nobody cares to think twice. If you ask me, had Kurosawa told everyone the truth about the supplies from the start, then there wouldn't be such a severe backlash now. Of course, I'm sure there would still have been some unrest. What he was doing was truly a thankless deed. As for why he chose to spend his own money on emergency provisions and never tell anyone, I'm still not too clear myself. If you're still curious, why don't you go ask him yourself? I see. That reminds me, it seems that his vision was recently confiscated. Most unfortunate. If he doesn't clear the debt on his name, he'll have no choice but to sell that sword that is so dear to him.
Sword? What sword?
Oh, didn't he tell you? I've asked him about its origins. He told me that it was a gift from his father, that it was too precious to sell. In hindsight, I regret that I never made an offer on it. Everything has its price, at least that's what I think. Why don't you ask him about the sword yourself? Perhaps it'll even provide you with the answers you're looking for. Oh, but before you go, if you would kindly settle today's bill.
But we didn't buy anything!
Information is also a kind of commodity, wouldn't you agree? Don't worry, I won't charge much for information about Kurosawa. Nothing we ever discussed was explicitly confidential anyway. Oh, let me think. 2,000 mora should be a fair price.
At least we now know where the emergency provisions are coming from. Plus, we found out that Kurosawa has a priceless sword in his possession. Let's go talk to Kurosawa again and see if he can remember anything. What are you doing here all by yourself? Where did those other two go?
I presented them with a choice. Either they left or I drew my sword. They left. It turned out to be a real time saver, actually. Perhaps I should start using it more often. Did you manage to track down the treasure hoarders?
That just about sums it up. It turns out that you really were distributing emergency provisions, but they were all purchased at your own expense.
Strange. Is that really the kind of person I was? I don't really have any such recollection. Even after all you've told me, I still don't remember anything. Why was I purchasing emergency provisions for everyone? And why would I put myself in such a difficult situation? I really don't understand. But I cannot deny that when I brandished my sword to scare those two away, I could sense that my body was somehow reluctant. This sword was once wielded by my father. I remember once when I was young, I wanted to sneak out with the blade and show it off to the kids next door. My father ended up catching me in the act and scolded me severely. What did he say? I can't seem to remember that either. It would seem that I forgot many important things when my vision was taken from me. So many memories gone. Forever. No matter how hard I try to remember. All I can remember now is my father telling me that this blade bore his life's creed. Before he passed away, he placed the sword in my hands and said to me, "With this sword, you should..."
Hey, if you look carefully, there seems to be some words engraved on the hilt. Can you recognize the words?
Virtue and justice? Somehow those two words seem to explain everything now. Taking on seemingly endless debts to make others happy. I guess that must have been my greatest ambition after all. But what use are virtue and justice? I purchased the provisions for those in need. And look how things ended up. The Tenryo Commission seized my vision. And the very people I was so desperately trying to help refused to understand me. And the irony of all of it is, I somehow still felt sorry when threatening them with my blade. I'm incapable of being a good person, yet I'm equally unable to be bad. I don't know what to do with myself.
Yet another troubled soul. When we get the chance, let's speak to Toma about Kurosawa's debt. The Yashiro Commission would surely help cover his expenses. In any case, we must never let him sell off that sword. Yeah, seems like losing all ambition is a terrible experience. Fortunately for us, you don't have a vision. Let's go find the next person.
Don't worry. Natsuko will be...
Okay.
The third person who had their vision taken is supposed to be a famous sword master around these parts. Paimon heard that he's the present-day master of Meikyo Shisui art. Sounds pretty impressive. This is his dojo. Luckily, there's some people around. Let's go talk to them.
Nanako, don't worry. Sensei will be fine. Those thugs that challenged the dojo were strong, but he fought them all off in the end, didn't he?
Maybe, but I'm still worried about him. Things have gotten dangerous before in the past, but it's never shaken him. This time, though...
It's just because he's been possessed, that's all. Once the exorcism has taken place, he'll be right as rain in no time.
Hey there! Did something happen?
Who are you? I don't care whether you're trespassers or just here to harass us while Sensei is impaired. Get out of here immediately! Don't make me draw my blade, or you won't live to regret it.
No! You got it so wrong. We just came here to...
Disciples?
Yep, but then we got here and over...
From the way you're dressed, please, accept my apologies. You haven't arrived at the best of times, I'm afraid. Sensei got possessed recently, and he's still I see you are earnest in your pursuit. Okay, how about this? My fellow disciple Nanako and I will explain Sensei's situation to you in a little more detail. Then you can decide whether to stay or to... Sensei's name is Domon. A name I'm sure you've already heard. Though self-taught, he mastered the art of the sword to a high level. He once said that... And so... But then...
Not long ago, Sensei had his vision taken away. He hasn't been the same since. He says the strangest things over and over, and he refuses to let us train. Junya and I have discussed it, and we both think that he's being possessed by an evil spirit. So we've asked the shrine maidens from the Grand Narukami Shrine to perform an exorcism. But if I'm honest, I still have my doubts over whether he'll completely recover.
The Grand Narukami Shrine? What's that?
You haven't heard of it? It's the largest shrine on Narukami Island. The head shrine maiden is reputed to have very close ties with the almighty Shogun herself. Not that we'd have any means of involving the head shrine maiden, of course. But even one of the ordinary shrine maidens from the Grand Narukami Shrine would have clear power and authority to perform an exorcism. So don't worry, Nanako. Sensei is going to be just fine. The exorcism will take place this evening. You're both more than welcome to come and watch if you're interested.
So, losing your vision can cause possession? Guess we should come back this evening and see for...
Shh. Just now, when she asked him, it looked like he was... All the while he kept... One of them was... Sensei wouldn't... The ritual has now... Please,
Huh? Who's that? We won't let them... Seems they aren't here. Should we keep going further up? Is this definitely the right place? Let's look a little further up. Aha! Suspicion!
How? Are you sure you're Domon's disciples? Unless...
And what are you...
Bad news? I don't care to talk...
His senior?
Anzai? Yes, because I don't... When we were young, I had begun practitioners, but Domo, Sensei Skull, I thought so. Only then, he was...
Sure sound...
Because until he... Of all the disciples, Domon's arrived later. After that, So, I decided... So you see... Okay, you've heard my story.
Seems like still time?
What? You're saying he isn't possessed? Does that mean he's just...
Nanako.
I am sorry, but and all is...
Lady Ya...
The head shrine...
Correct. I am unable to...
Excuse me.
That won't be necessary. I must leave now.
Who'd have thought Lady Yai herself would have taken notice of our sin...
Do you mean to say...
No. That's not what I meant at all. I just mean this is Anyway, you should join us too, given that you've traveled all this way.
Sure! Who knows?
pleasant surprise.
Do you think that's Lady Ai? Oh, no wonder Junior is so excited. She has a really striking presence. Also, Is it just Paimon? Or did she look right at us just now? It was probably nothing. It's not like she's ever seen us before.
Keep away. Keep away from me. I gave up the art of the sword. Please, let me go, I beg you.
As you can see, Lady Yai, Domon has persisted in this state for some time now. He appears to see those who have lost to him in duels past, gathered all around him to persecute him.
Lady Yai, it must be a possession, right? This is nothing like him at all. In the past, no matter what came his way, he would always face it with a confident smile.
I'm sorry. It is clear to me that your sensei is not possessed by any evil spirit.
But then does that mean he...
Yes. This is a change in the person himself. Unable to cope with the tremendous pressure he was under, he suffered a spiritual collapse. With his wits impaired, he finally descended into madness. As one who is thrown into the sea, though he fights back desperately against his predicament, it does nothing to prevent his descent into the depths. As for what has triggered this change, I believe it must be the loss of his vision. For to be stripped of one's vision is to be stripped of one's ambition.
Stripped of his ambition? But Lady Yai, even without his ambition, why should he suffer such a dramatic change? How does that explain his descent into madness?
Your school practices Meikyo Shisui art, does it not? Stillness of mind, freedom from all agitation. What a fine notion that would be if any in this world could ever hope to achieve it. There was once one who claimed to be indifferent to rank and reward, and who fled enraged when defeated by his junior. And then there was an aged swordmaster who was aggrieved enough that he crossed blades with a disciple he himself had taught. Then, what of the one who crossed blades with his own sensei and beloved fellow disciple, and defeated them both? Can one truly unagitated unagitated, of still mind in moments such as these?
Lady Yai, I'm not sure I understand.
The path of the swordmaster is filled with twists and turns. It is no small undertaking to pursue the position of greatest swordmaster in the world. It requires one to take their sword firmly in both hands and cut down the hopes and dreams of others, even those of one's closest companions. Only a deep commitment to his ambition to become the best made it possible for him to rise above the pain of these encounters, to focus on the way ahead. When that ambition disappeared, he began to doubt himself. As he battled his growing anxiety, he slowly descended into the state you see him in now. Much like a certain fatally flawed friend of mine.
Poor Sensei. To think he's been suffering so greatly.
I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Father, Sensei, Anzai.
That's enough.
Huh? Isn't that Anzai? Where did he come from? Did he follow us the whole way here?
Anzai, why are there two of you? You're here for revenge.
You're right to assume that my feelings towards you are... It's been so long now. I don't think now I know that we... But that is no
But what if one day I put everything... If there's a...
Have you asked them what...
Sensei, I can't know whether I want to keep...
Nanako's far from the only one.
Goodness.
You see? Being stripped of your ambition. So, just... You are not in the same position that I was. When I left...
I'm sorry to have made... I no longer have the resolve to become the best in the world. The emptiness and suffering inside of me will not abate, But as your sensei, I shall commit to imparting on... This is my promise. And I humbly ask Anzai,
You can count on that. But I am now used to the life of a wanderer. I do not belong in the dojo anymore. So I will simply stop by once in a while to make sure you aren't cutting any corners with them. Well, don't just stand there staring at me. Say thank you to Lady Yai and then get yourself back home.
So even though his ambition was taken away, his disciples can take it over on his behalf. Guess that's...
Traveler, a moment, please. Lady Yai has some words for you.
So, my intuition was correct. The wind that blows from afar carries fresh life to these shores. For us to meet now is premature. Nevertheless, you set foot on these islands at precisely the right moment. I have high hopes for you, child. Don't disappoint me.
Ooh, Lady Yai seems to have taken a real interest in you. She seems super mysterious. Paimon's so curious what she really meant by all that. We can come back to it another time. For now, we should go report back to Miss Kamisato.
By the protection of the Electro Archon, may the blossoms of this sacred sakura
Connie,
bloom
please.
eternally.
See that he stays safe. See that
May
he
the
stays
blossoms
safe.
of this sacred sakura.
Stay safe.
By the protection of the Electro Archon, may the
I
blossoms
swear by
of
my
this
sword!
sacred sakura bloom eternally.
Oh, Ayaka! Guess who fulfilled all your wishes? Huh? Ayaka! Huh?
Huh?
Traveler, Paimon. It is a pleasure to finally meet you both face to face. I have heard all about how you helped our three friends. My sincerest thanks to you.
Yeah, short of getting them their visions back, it seems like there's no way to really help them. Ayaka, how come this time you get to come out and meet us in person?
Because now that you have done the 3 things I asked of you, I consider you to be my friends. As you will observe, I dispense with the screen for Toma also.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a second. But isn't Toma your, servant? Paimon's happy to help and all, but Paimon sure as heck did not sign up to be a servant.
Oh. Paimon, you are most entertaining. Toma is first and foremost my friend, and was so before he ever became my attendant.
Oh, okay then. Ayaka, you seem pretty different out in the open compared to how you are behind the screen.
Thank you both kindly. Back to the matter at hand. You have now witnessed the pain of those deprived of their visions. What are your feelings on what you have seen? Perhaps in the eyes of a deity such as the almighty Shogun, the lives of those who inhabit the world are inconsequential. Thunders roar, lightnings flash, the winds assault, and the rains descent. All these things take place with no regard for the feelings of the common people. But I believe that surely you understand what they must endure. It seems that perhaps now you can appreciate my feelings on all of this. In which case, perhaps you would be willing to reconsider your stance? You will? Really? Naturally.
All right, bravo, my lady. You were right all along.
See? I told you she wouldn't reject them. I'd placed my trust in the right person after all. Now then, given that the remainder of our discussion pertains to matters of a more confidential nature, perhaps we could move to the Komori Tea House? We ought not to involve other members of the Yashiro Commission.
Well, here we are again.
Please continue without me. I'll keep watch.
So, what's the deal with this place anyway? What makes it your favorite meeting spot?
This is land that was gifted to the Yashiro Commission by the Shogun. The Kamisato clan has the exclusive right to plan, build, and repair any property on this land, and even to allow or deny access. Such privileges exist due to the Yashiro Commission's role in managing ceremonial affairs. Oftentimes, it is not appropriate to discuss details in front of bystanders.
Oh, Paimon gets it! Gotta keep a bit of mystery, right?
Once the number of ceremonial affairs conducted in the city began to decline, our forebears built a tea house here. Only members of the Yashiro Commission are permitted to come and go as they please.
Makes sense. Perfect place for a secret base.
In any case, we can talk freely here. I presume you have a few questions that you wish to ask me? The almighty Shogun. I've seen her on but only a few occasions, most of them formal ceremonies. She inspires awe, commands respect, and exudes a sense of absolute authority. But as I recall, there was something else about her that struck me even more deeply. It was her almost complete lack of any emotion. In that sense, she appeared to me to be less of a ruler and more of, well, an executive official, I suppose. Focused exclusively on her single goal of implementing eternity, acting accordingly without feeling. The issue is this. For the vast majority of people, the Vision Hunt Decree is something that has no implications whatsoever. After all, it is but a tiny minority of people who receive visions. Moreover, it is not unknown for visions to spark jealousy in others. Because of this, the attitude of most people towards the Vision Hunt Decree is one of indifference.
How can they be like that? Paimon's getting mad.
Nevertheless, in addition to us, there is also the resistance on Watatsumi Island.
Resistance? You mean like an army fighting against the decree?
Yes. Many who have lost or fear losing their visions have rallied together under Sangonomiya on Watatsumi Island to form a resistance group. To say a little more about Sangonomiya, historically, there has always been some conflict between them and the shogunate of Narukami Island due to their different belief systems. But I do wonder whether there may be some other agenda behind their resistance movement, beyond merely fighting the Vision Hunt Decree. Of course. They invariably adopt a stance of unconditional support for the Shogun's decisions. They have no interest in discussing anything. It almost makes one wonder whether they had a hand in the Shogun's sudden decision to issue the Vision Hunt decree.